Hi, folks. I hope that you're all well and good. As you know, for the third session of our Wakeful Body book club, The Spiritual Pilgrim, we forgot to hit record. So I thought I would just try and capture a bit of the chat that I gave to start that session of the book club and share it with you so that you can, see what was said, or at least some approximation of it. So my talk that night was inspired by the poem, I guess you could call it, at the beginning of chapter 3 on page 51. And it goes like this. Having just awakened, the Bodhisattva placed his right hand upon the ground and said, "The earth is witness for all beings, impartial toward all that lives. O earth, will you mirror the truth? O earth, will you be my witness?" And this is from Tenzin Chogyal in his book, The Life of the Buddha. Okay, so first of all, the Bodhisattva is Buddha Shakyamuni. So this is the path. This is how the Bodhisattva path works. You work and work and work and work and practice and practice and practice to become, to reach Bodhisattva status, Bodhisattvahood, and then that makes you prime candidate for achieving Buddhahood. And so, when the Buddha was in Bodh Gaya and became determined to awaken and sat under the Bodhi tree until he did so, he was a Bodhisattva at that point, and then he awoke as a Buddha, and he was Buddha Shakyamuni, the fourth Buddha of this age. So this when I read this on this occasion, as always with this book of Lama Willa's, when I come back to it, I see new things. And I was so struck by what I saw when I read this very first thing of the chapter that I felt like, okay, I want to share this with you all. So this is the focus of this week's talk. And it really struck me differently, particularly because of this one word, impartial. Okay, so we're gonna get to that. But first, let me just share a bit of the context. So, having just awakened, the Bodhisattva placed his right hand upon the ground. So this is my Buddha from my altar, and as you can see, it's got the right hand touching the ground. This is called Bhumi Sparsa Mudra. Bhumi Sparsa Mudra. So a mudra is an energetic seal, and mudras show up all over the place in our yoga practice, in our yoga asana practice. And so the example that I gave the other night was that's often overlooked. And this was a teaching that I received from Tim Miller, I think the first American certified Ashtanga yoga teacher, amazing man, and I practiced with him for years, and he would talk about these mudras, and how important they are. And an example of one of those is in Uttita Parshva Konasana, so extended side angle posture. In extended side angle posture in Ashtanga, we are legs spread wide, lunging to the right, and that knee is bent deeply, and the right hand is placed to the outside of the right foot. Now, a lot of times I see students doing that, and there is space between their hand and their foot. But the mudra happens when the hand and the foot touch. So when we come into that posture, we just nestle gently the hand right up against the outer edge of the foot, and you get this seal, mudra. Now, what does that do? Well, these seals are incredibly important, actually. They are part of the internal integration system of bandhas and mudras, okay? And they traverse the body from head to foot. There are bandhas and mudras interplaying, integrating to create steadiness, which is seminal to the yogasana practice, to have stira, steadiness. It starts right with samastiti. By the way, it's not samastitihi, it's samastiti. Okay, so samastiti, standing posture, where we start every Ashtanga yoga practice, and the mudras and bandhas lock it in and change it from just standing around to equal standing. This is a beautiful meaning of this posture, equal standing posture. Okay, so anywho, just to say, start paying attention to that. Where are the mudras in each posture? What is your foundation in each posture? These are very related to what Lama Willa is teaching us, and very important to the integrity, to the development, to the ability and capacity within your yogasana practice. Okay, so the earth is witness for all beings. That's just a beautiful thing in and of itself, you know. We must have the earth, you know, and it is present for all that we do, and impartial toward all that lives. Now, when I read this time, it just really jumped out at me because over the past couple of years, I've been putting extra effort into studying, practicing, and even sharing the teachings of what are called the Four Boundless. The Four Boundless also show up in the Yoga Sutras as the 33rd Sutra in the first pada. And it goes, Maitri Karuna Mudito Pakshanam Sukha Dukkha Punya Apunya Vashayanam Bhavanatash Chitta Prasadanam. And it is telling us how to cultivate and manage and maintain a sweet disposition, Chitta Prasadanam, a calm mind, a sweet disposition, a harmonious being, even in the face of all the craziness that we encounter in the world, the sukha, the dukkha, the punya, apunya. So I encourage you to explore that sutra. It's a direct overlap with teachings of the Buddha, and in Buddhism we call it the Four Boundless. And the way that we describe it is to develop Maitri, loving kindness, Karuna, compassion, Mudito, sympathetic, sometimes we call it empathetic, but this joy for others, experiencing joy, and equanimity. Okay, the fourth is equanimity, or as Trungpa Rinpoche calls it, impartiality. So when I read this, the earth is witness for all beings, impartial toward all that lives, it jumped out at me because I have been very deeply entrenched in Trungpa Rinpoche's teachings on this, where he really strongly emphasizes that impartiality must come first. We absolutely must have this impartiality in order to truly inhabit the other qualities, loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy. Now, why is that? Well, in particular with loving kindness and loving kindness and compassion, it's because of this, and this is also a seminal, underlying, very important teaching of the Buddha, Buddhism, and in particular in Vajrayana Buddhism, which I've been highly steeped in through the teachings of Yangyaming Rinpoche and the joy of living. So what is that? Well, loving kindness and compassion are innate. We all have loving kindness and compassion. Why? Because love is the wish to be happy for yourself and for others. If you think about it, when you love someone, you wish them to be happy. And we all can't avoid, it's a deeply embedded thing within us as beings. All sentient beings wish to be happy. All sentient beings also wish to be free from suffering. Compassion, the wish to be free from suffering. So just stop and do a little meditation for a moment. Come into your seat. Maybe close your eyes. Drop into your body. get settled. Maybe take a deep breath. And then just ponder the question. Can you think of any being that doesn't want to be happy? Whatever happiness means for that being. Can you think of any being that doesn't wish to be happy? Can you think of any being that wishes to suffer? Whatever suffering means to them. Any being, any sentient being that's out there looking to suffer. Okay, and then come back into the room. Now, I'm guessing that you probably answered no to those questions. So this is a way that we contemplate and experience, and that's absolutely critical to the Buddha's teachings, that we experience them, we understand them for ourselves, not just based on someone else telling us this. But we know that no being wishes to suffer, and no being isn't looking to be happy. It's just part of our beingness to gravitate toward happiness and away from suffering. And so that's an innate part of all of us. But sympathetic joy and equanimity are not innate. We have to develop those. And what happens is, Strongger Rinpoche talks about, if we don't cultivate this impartiality to start with, before we start building up our loving kindness and compassion, then our loving kindness and compassion get skewed toward those that we already care about. And this is so important, because if you think about it, that's exactly what's happening in the world today. People are, they are loving and kind. And I'm seeing this here. I'm in the middle of the U.S. I've immersed myself in Trump land. And I'm seeing it. There are awesome people, my family included. And some, and yet they are having some fear. They feel they are protecting their interests. Because a lot of the loving kindness and compassion is focused internally, insularly, on those they already care about and their own concerns. And that's just an observation. It's not a criticism. It's just something that we all need to kind of sit with and recognize, that this is natural unless we take steps to apply an antidote and to really cultivate the impartiality so that we don't leave anyone behind. And so this is a really incredible component that's introduced here right off the bat in this chapter. This equanimity is key to cultivating boundless love, compassion, sympathetic joy, and that is inherent to the view in Buddhism. Like, ultimately what we're looking to cultivate is the view. We are awakened, and Buddha-ness is like to see the world through a lens of interdependence, not independence, to see the world through a view of multiplicity, not singularity, and to see the world through a view of impermanence, not permanence. And all of those things will free up and create flexibility in our hearts and minds, create openness, create the ability for boundless, unconditional love and compassion. And that is Buddha nature. So it's pretty awesome. And I felt like it was important to share that, because it's a context that overlays all of what we're reading. And I hope you'll keep it up, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.